Marc Lamont Hill Official. It's a complete library of all Marc Lamont Hill media. That means that it's authentic, it's diverse, and it's dedicated to truth and justice. You can also tune in as I host my original nightly show, Night School. We're here every single night, Monday to Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern.
This channel right here is so important for people to get the geopolitical education, the varying of the topics and the subjects here.
It's a global classroom where we talk about the hottest things going on in politics, pop culture, and academia.
I've never seen a greater fumble, and it's never being talked about like that. But if there was one person who needed to sue their fucking lawyers for ruining their career, it's Jonathan Majors.
Break down and cry.
Doom, doom, doom. You know, tell me about what was going on around there, because you don't just sing it like your face. I was like,
man, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, boy. We have a lot of fun on my Office Hours show, which is an original program that comes on. Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we host Night School, where we break down the biggest issues, the most intense debates, the most controversial topics going on in our world today. And tonight is no different. I want to apologize to you all that I didn't make it at our normal time. As I told you this week, we got some sick family and some moves that have to be made, some things that have to be done. But no matter what's going on, I want to make sure that I am here with y'all and here for y'all. So it's late. Your boy ain't slept in 2 days, but I'm still here. And I'm here because I have to talk about a bunch of stuff with y'all. As we start the show, I want to make sure that everybody drops their information in. Again, this is a global classroom. So that means that people from all over the world are writing in. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Also drop in your name, drop in your city in the chat. Also, maybe the country. If you're calling from somewhere, right, or watching from somewhere else outside of the U.S., let's not be U.S.-centric. Tell me where you're writing in. Anyway, so I had one thing I want to talk about with y'all, but then some new information has come out. According to reports, the Trump campaign, you know what, let me make a little banner for this too, man, because I want people to man, I'll write this down. After Kamala Harris, let me do it properly. I want to be all professional and sophisticated. After it was announced that Kamala Harris would be basically replacing Joseph Robinette Biden on the Democratic ticket for the presidency, it was presumed that all of the scheduled debates between Joe Biden and Donald Trump would now simply be replaced with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. This, of course, made sense because, again, Donald Trump happily agreed to debate Joe Biden 3 times this season, one of which obviously already happened, which is the reason Joe Biden ain't running for president no more. That said, there have been rumblings in the last day or two that former President Trump would not be debating Kamala Harris. It's a very curious announcement, a very curious claim. Well, there's no need to speculate anymore. Tonight, the Trump campaign issued a statement. Peep this, y'all. This is Stephen Chung, Trump campaign communications director. Given the continued political chaos surrounding crooked Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, general election debate details cannot be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee. There is a strong sense by many in the Democratic Party, namely Barack Hussein Obama, that Kamala Harris is a Marxist fraud who cannot beat President Trump, and they are still holding out for someone, quote unquote, better. Therefore, it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris because Democrats very well could still change their minds. Wow. That statement is wild for so many reasons. And I'm going to break this down. But let me start by saying Donald Trump don't want no smoke with Kamala Harris in the debate. I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm not supporting anybody in this moment. I am simply saying I know strategically Donald Trump does not want that. He didn't want it with Hillary. He felt like he could outmaneuver Joe Biden. Not this time, I'm talking about in 2020. But he didn't want Hillary because Hillary was smarter than him, more capable than him, more experienced than him. I think he thinks he can beat Kamala Harris, but he'd rather not have the debate. And so what you see is a statement that is so boldly and nakedly racist on so many levels. There's like the dog whistle, then there's the explicit pander, then there's, I mean, it's so many levels of racism and dishonesty. So let's start. He said, given the continued political chaos surrounding crooked Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, general election debate details cannot be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee. So here's the thing. They're lying. They are literally just lying. They just had a debate 2.5 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now. Guess what? Joe Biden was not the formal nominee. He said Democrats, nothing can be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee. They already had the debate scheduled with Joe Biden. He's not the nominee. Joe Biden wouldn't be the nominee for another 3 weeks. So they're just making things up. It's an insult to people who think. He said there's a strong sense by many in the Democratic Party, namely Barack Hussein Obama, throwing the Hussein in there. Nothing wrong with having the name Hussein. You know, Hassan and Hussein were the children of Ali, you know, the fourth Khalif among Sunnis, the first Khalif among Shia. Beautiful family, Hassan and Hussein. Aisha, the whole squad, you know, beautiful name. But they're not trying to show love to Ahl Bayt or something, right? They're saying Barack Hussein Obama as a way of, again, making him sound foreign, scary, exotic. It plays on Islamophobia, racist. And they're trying to tie the Democrats to this shadowy figure who he still is basically saying he ain't from here. You know, he did everything but ask for his birth certificate. Then he calls Kamala Harris a Marxist fraud. Marxism is or Marxist, even more specifically, is an interesting term that's been kind of taken over by Republicans in the last 4 or 5 years, not to mean even what they used to mean when they were just red bait and dog whistle, you know, for anybody who was left of like Bill Clinton. Now they use Marxist as another way of calling you the N-word. They use Marxist as a way, you know, they use Marxist, they use DEI, they use critical race theory. They don't know what these terms mean, but they just throw them all out. So, I mean, he threw out all of them. He threw out crooked Joe, lies, Hussein, Marxist fraud. They called her a Marxist fraud. What makes her a fraud, right? This goes into the DEI language, right? That you're somehow an ineligible opponent who cannot beat President Trump, and they're still holding out for someone better. Now, here's the interesting thing that he did that was actually quite wise. He's pointing out the thing that I pointed out 3 days ago and 2 days ago, and that is that President Obama has not endorsed Kamala Harris. And we know that President Obama has a reason for this. I don't want to speak for President Obama. I want them, the David Axelrod and the Barack Obamas to speak for it. By the way, did y'all notice in this statement they call him President Trump, but they don't call him President Obama? Not a coincidence. Again, there's layers and levels to the dog whistles and the racism that's in this thing. But basically, he's saying it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris because Democrats very well could still change their minds. This is the most audacious effort to duck the smoke that I have seen in a long time. Anyway, Kamala Harris has something to say about it too. Here's what she said.
Previously agreed upon September 10th debate. He agreed to that previously. Now it appears he's backpedaling, but I'm ready. And I think the voters deserve to see the split screen that exists in this race on a debate stage. And so I'm ready. Let's go. Will you do it? Previously agreed upon September 10th.
Again, an interesting, Kamala Harris, as you see, is also coming into her own using the kind of language of the split screen, a very interesting and important trope or term that's going to be used many times during her campaign. That there's a split screen basically saying like he's one kind of person and I'm another kind of person. Hopefully she don't use that "they not like us" thing, because that's gonna be so corny at this point, and 3 months too late. But that's basically what the claim is, right? And so we got to figure out what that all means. But anyway, Donald Trump is being put in a position that he hadn't been in with Joe Biden. With Joe Biden, all he had to do was swing, 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 swing. He didn't have to put his guard up. He didn't have to defend himself. Just swing, swing, swing. You can't just swing against Kamala Harris. Not because she's some unbeatable foe. She's beatable, just like Trump is beatable. But she's being aggressive, and she has a campaign, and she's got a whatever the equivalent of the beehive is for Kamala. She got one of them, and so all of that is part of the mix. So just watch. So I could tell you, just watch and see where this thing goes. I suspect they're still going to debate, but Donald Trump also doesn't mind not debating. He decided, Hillary, I'm just not going to debate you anymore, or Biden, I don't want anymore. He's not afraid to say I don't care, because he knows his voting base doesn't make decisions about him based on substance. So it really kind of does not matter. Anyway, I want to talk about another story that I think is so incredibly important, and that is the state of Georgia. They have finally done something right here in the education system. Georgia's education chiefs just did a 180 on teaching Black history. After a public backlash that I'm sure you heard about, the state superintendent of schools, Richard Woods, announced that state funding will now cover the AP, or Advanced Placement African American Studies course, using an existing course code from 2020. It's so funny when we don't have a code. We can't do. You can make anything happen, man. Anyway, this comes after Woods initially refusing earlier in the day to back the course, stirring controversy and accusations of suppressing Black history education. Now, in a move to kind of smooth things over, Woods clarified that districts opting for this course can just teach the AP standards, and students can take the AP exam, ensuring that they get the same GPA boost, the same credit as other APA courses. Now, this was a workaround, and it was praised by a lot of people, including State Rep Jasmine Clark, who had slammed Woods' original decision to ban the course. I mean, he's banning bike. I mean, come on, y'all. The About Face followed similar AP course restrictions in Florida and Arkansas and other places, which added to the national debate. Now, Woods, while standing by his concerns about endorsing the full course, now leaves curriculum decisions to local districts, stressing community consultation. And in a place like Atlanta, that's important. I'll tell you why. The College Board, the nonprofit behind the AP courses, noted that 33 Georgia schools are already piloting the African American Studies course. AP classes ranging from math to fine arts offer high school students a chance to earn college credits, and the course finally joins the funded roster. We are at an extraordinarily interesting moment in history. And let me say, by the way, I don't know nothing about AP courses. I didn't take no AP courses. I didn't take regular courses in high school. I was not a good student. So I was in summer school more than I was in advanced placement. But I do know the power of AP and the value of AP. And too often, school superintendents and curriculum designers and other folk don't believe that Black subject matter, whether it's Black studies, whether it's Black history, whether it's Black literature, belongs. Or if it does belong, they see it as particular to Black folk and not universal. This is the fundamental problem with education. It's the fundamental problem with knowledge production in the West, is that we see white experiences as universal and Black experiences as particular. So we will have the entire world read about Anne Frank's diary, and we should. It's a powerful text. I mean, I love the Diary of Anne Frank, right? As a literary text and as a window into the human experience. But if Miss Seeley is writing to God and eventually her sister Nettie in The Color Purple, now that's just some Black stuff. You hear what I'm saying? We make white experiences universal and Black experiences particular. And so the idea that Black history or Black anything can be part of advanced placement, which is supposed to be for all students, and really, it's really just for white students in a lot of ways. It's why they don't want it. They think that there's no substance to it. They think there's no value to it. They think there's no depth to it. They think there's nothing worth keeping track of in an intellectual context. And so they don't do it. But now there will be some daylight. There has been some progress. And so shout out to Georgia for making the about face. The superintendent of Georgia schools is not doing it because he got religion. He's not doing it because he had a conversion experience. He's not doing it because he found a compelling or persuasive argument. Black folk got in his ass. And so now he's making a different decision because it's in his best interest. That's what organizing is. That's what activism is. And that's why it's important for parents to make these decisions about their own educational futures and those of their family, community, and their own children. One of the things that comes up in this conversation, again, is about who has control over curriculum. That has to be a local matter. The superintendent shouldn't be making all of these decisions for an entire range of communities. There are places where that history course should be front and center. There's also places where that history course should be available, but other things should be front and center. We have to be able to pivot among multiple centers. The Afrocentric tradition, the Afrocentric paradigm, as imagined, or the Afrocentric ideal as imagined by Molefi Kete Asante, is that we can have pluralism without hierarchy. Pluralism without hierarchy, meaning that we can have multiple people, multiple traditions, multiple narratives, multiple voices, all pivoting among multiple centers, as opposed to having whiteness at the center of everything. But that's what they want. And at a moment where the Trump administration could be returning, at a time where the Christopher Rufos and the James Lindsays and all these kind of new 21st century versions of the Mary Lefkowitzes and the Dinesh D'Souza's and the, whoever, who are all saying knowledge is Eurocentric. American Western traditions are what should be front and center in our culture and in our life. When people are saying that, and they're saying that, oh my God, critical race theory is going to destroy your life, and it's all over the world, and oh my God, Black literature, etc., yada, yada, yada. There are movements to ban our books. There are movements to silence our traditions. There are movements to literally criminalize certain forms of knowledge production. And so while that is happening, it's important that people, not just in states like Georgia where it's intense, but even in places like Pennsylvania or Vermont or Seattle, Washington, like even the most progressive places are often silencing and policing speech. So we need to talk about that. We need to think about that. And that is what it is. I want to talk about another story that is very near and dear to me, and something that I've been wanting to talk to you all about. But before I do, I just want to say one more time, hit that like button, family. Hit that subscribe button, family. Hit all the buttons. If you just join it, hit the city, hit the state, hit the country, let people know where you're writing in from. You're watching Night School. We've been talking about a range of things. I'm having fun with y'all tonight, man. I feel more like a professor tonight. Does that make sense? Like I feel like I'm talking, I'm yapping just a little bit more than normal. But it's important to me sometimes to feel like I'm doing my professor. I'm in my professor bag. You dig me? Not just my news anchor bag. I got a news anchor bag. I got a professor bag too. I like both of them, man. So we got to do a little bit of each at various times and at various stages. It's the work. Anyway, so we were just talking about the debates. We were just talking about the battles, that are going to be in front of us. But, it's also important for us as we talk about these issues to talk about Kamala Harris as the campaigner, not as the vice president, not as the responder, not as the debate applicant. Let's talk about Kamala Harris as candidate. And I'll tell you why, because there's some good news coming out. All right. Kamala Harris just dropped her first presidential campaign ad. And I got to say, it's fire. It got a lot of love, a lot of support, a lot of reposts. It even got a cosign from the queen herself. And I'm not talking about Elizabeth. I'm talking about Queen B, the only queen that we acknowledge. So without further ado, let me show you the vice president's presidential campaign ad. Check this out, y'all. By the way, I think you're going to like it. I think it's solid. And again, I'm not endorsing Kamala Harris. I'm saying this video is nice. I'm not dissing Kamala Harris either. I'm just saying the video is nice. Check this video out. I think you're going to like it. She posted it to YouTube, y'all. I didn't bootleg it. Check this out.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate. But us, we choose something different. We choose freedom. Freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to make decisions about your own body. We choose a future where no child lives in poverty, where we can all afford health care, where no one is above the law. We believe in the promise of America, and we're ready to fight for it. Because when we fight, we win. So join us. Go to KamalaHarris.com and let's get to work.
I'ma keep on running because the winner don't quit on themselves.
What y'all think? By the way, drop your info in the let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think. Is this a good campaign ad? Is it effective? Is it evocative? I think, without exaggeration, that might be the best presidential campaign ad I have ever seen. It is incredibly powerful. It is incredibly compelling. It's visually stunning. The music, of course, is great. You got Beyonce in the joint. I mean, that's hard to do. She's not the best reader. That's just my own technical host anchor thing. Like, she's not the best reader. There was a lack of passion and emotion in the reading. I'm not saying she had to be dramatic. I'm just saying it felt on it. Her voice and energy didn't match the rest of the commercial. But that's a minor thing, and I don't think the people are going to care about that. They're going to see that thing and they're going to be energized. When you look at the ad, it was multicultural, it was diverse, it was interesting. It still took a swipe at Trump subtly, then in some more explicit ways with the images of him kind of demonizing him. I thought it's an incredibly good ad, and they got that thing out quick. So I'm excited. I mean, you got Beyonce's hit "Freedom." You got the mugshot of Donald Trump front and center, and I don't know what else you can do. She kind of paints the Trump world as chaotic and scary and hateful, and Trump and Vance. And then she articulates her own vision: gun violence, tackling it, affordable health care, fighting for it. Her message is clear. She says, I believe in the promise of America and I am ready to fight for it. She says she's ready to debate Trump. She says she's ready to get busy. I think that's as good as you're going to get from a campaign ad. And her launch this week has been as exciting as any launch we've seen in a long time. She got Black Greek letter organization. She got Black people on call, Black men on calls, Black women on calls. White women had a call tonight. Shout out to the white women who had that call. Let me know what's going on, and let me know what y'all talked about for Kamala. Now, I need to be very clear. Me saying that her ads are great and the energy is great is not me endorsing Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris also has a lot of explaining to do about her stance on policing. She has a lot to say, to tell us about her stance on reparations, and she has a lot of explaining to do about today's speech. I'm going to do a whole separate thing on the speech later, so that's why we're not going to talk about it right at this moment. But let's be very clear. Earlier today, when she was kind of condemning and chastising folk for their protests, she didn't say anything wrong, right? Like, you shouldn't be supporting terrorism. You shouldn't be supporting anti-Semitism. But there's a way that a whole lot of righteous principle resistance got lumped in to either a straw man or a very tiny, almost infinitesimal minority of people who were doing the things that she was criticizing in her press release. It felt like she was signaling to the world that she's still on the same train and track as Joe Biden. But in the speech itself, it's one. What I can tell you is that Kamala Harris seems to be willing to say the names of Palestinians a little bit more generously. That she seems to be willing to say that what's happening in Gaza is not okay. She seems to be willing to say she wants a ceasefire. Now, Biden will say, well, I've been saying that forever. Well, both of y'all be testing the water and playing politics with this stuff. Saying you want a ceasefire is fine. Kamala Harris was the first person out of the White House to say she wanted a ceasefire, but she also was talking about the kind of ceasefire that happens when you take a week off, or 2 days off, or 3 days off, maybe a week. Maybe a month. But like a temporary ceasefire is not a ceasefire. It's just allowing Israel to retool. It's allowing Hamas even to retool. It doesn't produce the outcomes that you want. So all this to say, if you're voting for Kamala Harris, be eyes wide open about it. You're probably, if you're on the left, you're doing it because you might like her. You're doing it because you appreciate her liberal policies, and you might think she's not left-wing enough for you, but you're going to do everything you can, tooth and nail, to fight to make sure that Donald Trump does not become the next president of the United States. That is a good enough reason. But what I won't allow you to do, what I won't allow anybody to do, not in this space and not in front of me, is pretend that somehow she's more progressive than she is, more radical than she is. I had people all week trying to tell me that Vice President Harris is super progressive on Palestine. She was just kind of doing what Joe Biden wanted done. Like, nah, bro, I know her history. I know her ideology. She was very clear about it on the campaign trail when she ran into 2020. So again, it's okay to make a decision about Kamala Harris, but don't do you know what and tell me it's raining. Let's have an honest conversation about who Kamala Harris is, and let's have an honest conversation about who Kamala Harris is not. And then let's have a pragmatic and earnest and transparent conversation about what we're going to do about that. I think that is absolutely okay. But I want to talk about something else. Kamala Harris is in a very interesting and really historically unprecedented position. We've had people like Barack Obama attacked for their race. We've had people like Hillary Clinton and Sarah Palin and Nikki Haley and others attacked for gender. But the intersection of race and gender is creating a very unique, in terms of presidential politics, a very unique and distinct history. So I wanted to make sure that we took a moment to kind of talk about what it means for Kamala Harris to be navigating this particular terrain, because she's doing it not against some abstract, idea. Donald Trump is attacking her. Those MAGA people are attacking her for being a woman and for being Black. Megyn Kelly, just a few days ago, said Kamala Harris slept her way into politics. Kamala Harris slept her way into politics? Do you know how ridiculous that is and how racist that is? And I know, you know what? No name, no blame. I ain't gonna say what I was about to say. It's like the whole verse, my house bigger than yours, my spot. Never mind. You know what I mean? Like, it's this moment where he's like, I ain't gonna go there with you, Trump. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not gonna go there with Megyn Kelly. But, I ain't got no, I know Megyn Kelly. I like Megyn Kelly. Interpersonally, I just think that is kind of lame, kind of whack to come after Kamala Harris like that. First of all, Kamala Harris didn't sleep her way into politics. Kamala Harris worked her way into politics. She was a student at one of the great undergraduate universities in America. She got a law degree. She worked. She studied. She did all the things you do to be successful. And this idea that somehow she isn't this thing, that she's some kind of a fraud. Remember that language, Marxist fraud? We saw, from the Trump statement earlier today. All of it is a way of trying to discredit her. And Donald Trump, of all people, should not be talking about who people sleep with. He should not be talking about any of that. But of course, at the same time that Megyn Kelly is saying that she slept her way into politics, you got Donald Trump on Truth Social posting stuff like this, which again, he has a right to do, but it's really crazy and whack. He shared this racist image, basically trying to target Kamala Harris and her racial identity. It's a meme which resurfaced thanks to Laura Loomer that attempts to undermine Harris by highlighting her mixed heritage. She's the daughter of Jamaican and Indian immigrants. She's born in Oakland. The Oakland part was probably helpful because they couldn't do the whole birther thing. But the meme criticizes Harris for her achievements as the first Indian American U.S. Senator in 2016 and as the first Black woman on a major party ticket in 2020. Loomer's post has this inflammatory caption that you can see with your own eyes. Can you see? You might not be able to see it. I know my own eyes actually can't see it because I need glasses and I refuse to do it. But I want to point something else out about this too. But anyway, the Loomer's post accuses Harris of, quote, pretending to be Black to fit a perceived Democratic quota. This is what fascinates me about white people understand so little about us, our culture, our lives. And some of this is just dishonesty and cynicism and all of that, misleading the public, misdirecting the public. But there's also a way that they just don't get us. First, let's actually start with this. The Associated Press says California's Kamala Harris becomes first Indian American U.S. Senator, and it says Biden picks Kamala Harris as running mate first Black woman. Both of those things are true. But just like when you make a headline that people don't like for your newspaper articles or op-eds or whatever, Kamala Harris does not work for the AP. She doesn't work for the Associated Press. The Associated Press made a decision to post that and to call, and they probably had 3 different headlines for 3 different editions. But they're framing it as if she represented herself as Indian, as if Kamala Harris was walking through the world as a U.S. Senator saying, I am an Indian woman. I can tell you with complete certainty that Kamala Harris identified as a Black woman when she was running for the U.S. Senate. I met Kamala Harris 18 years. Oh my God, I'm old. 18 years ago. And she was identifying as a Black woman then. She went to Howard University in the 80s. Howard University, HU, know. She went to a historically Black college. You don't do that if you don't want to identify as Black. Because if you look as African or as Black as she does, and this is a phenotype, and you went to Howard, people going to think you a light-skinned Howard girl. You're like half a Howard. So she wasn't trying to pass. And she's not passing. She's a Black woman. She's clearly a Black woman. And she tells you that every opportunity. Listen to this.
That's one of them times you pandering to Black people, but she's Black.
No, but I'm Black.
Yes.
And I'm proud of being Black.
Absolutely.
And I was born Black. I will die Black. And I'm proud of being Black. And I'm not going to make any excuses for anybody because they don't understand.
The woman grew up in Oakland. She went to Howard. She pledged to AKA. And she's a Kappa sweetheart, by the way. What else you want her to do? Now she's not Black? White people amaze me. Sometimes y'all go by the 1 drop rule. Oh, if great-great-grandmother's Black, they're not pure. Or, whatever. But when it comes to her, suddenly now she's either too Black or not Black enough. The Trump campaign has her as a radical Marxist, blah, 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 blah. They call her DEI hire. If she ain't Black, then what's the DEI? Come on. Like, what are you talking about? Or I guess they're going to say DEI for Indians? Knock it off. Then you got the ADOS people and the FBA people who are raising questions about her lineage, among other people. I'm just telling you people I've seen on social media. And I think it's okay to say, look, she's not a descendant of American slavery. Fine. But is her political agenda in line with the interests of us? Are her political commitments in line with us? These are the questions you got to ask. I'm okay with that as long as it doesn't turn into xenophobia. But what Donald Trump and them is doing, they're not trying to add a complicated conversational race to the public discourse. They're trying to shame her, humiliate her, and direct their idiotic followers to go in a different direction. And of course, Harris's family is defending her after comments that J.D. Vance made, the vice presidential candidate on the Republican side. the comments resurfaced shortly after he was named Donald Trump's running mate. In a 2021 interview on Fox News with some guy named Tucker Carlson, J.D. Vance called Kamala Harris a, quote, childless cat lady. A childless cat lady. He said that she's miserable and that she wants to, quote, make the rest of the country miserable too. Well, today, Kirsten Imhoff, if you don't know, ex-wife of Kamala Harris's husband, the first gentleman, or second gentleman, excuse me, her husband, Doug Imhoff, slammed critics, saying, quote, Kamala has been a loving, nurturing, and fiercely protective stepmother to Cole and Ella for over a decade. Our blended family is strong, and I'm grateful for her presence in it. As you know, she and Harris co-parent. Their daughter Ella shared an Instagram story as well, saying, how can you be childless when you have cutie pie kids like Cole and I? It's really Cole and me, but I'll let you live, Ella. I love my 3 parents. Look, families look different ways for different people. And if the way your family looks is with people who aren't your biological parents or your biological kids, but you still forge a family, you build a family, that's on you. But this idea, calling her a childless cat lady is awful when she has a family, but also, like, people make all kinds of choices about when they have babies, whether they have babies, that aren't up to us to decide for them. So, you know, if Kamala Harris did have kids, y'all be like, oh, well, she had kids and she's trying to run for president. She's not a good mother. And so, you know, you can't win. That's my frustration. You know, women are placed in an impossible situation, but I think she's doing the best she can, and she's ignoring a lot of the noise, because that eliminating the noise is going to be really, really important. Let's move on to another interesting story. And by the way, Kamala Harris has not yet announced a VP choice. She might be waiting to get more support, but it's going to be hard to get any more support than she already has if President Obama has not endorsed her yet. It looks like an open convention might be on the horizon. If you want to see an open convention, drop in the chat. Let me know who you'd like it to be or who it should be. Yeah, I have no idea. But I want to move on to another story because there's so much to talk about. And I'm old and tired, y'all. But I promised y'all I would do my thing, and I'm doing my thing, man. So you just got to pop out and show people. Many people say California Governor Gavin Newsom would be a great choice for VP, given his appeal to a more progressive and maybe even younger crowd. But his latest moves may hamper his popularity in the state, because lately he's made some, just say interesting choices. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna let people be. Today, for example, Gavin Newsom unleashed a sweeping mandate to clear thousands of homeless encampments from across the state. The directive, the most aggressive response to a recent Supreme Court ruling, grants local governments greater power to remove homeless individuals from public spaces and work with local service providers. But it stops short. I'll just say that. It stops short of guaranteeing any kind of definitive shelter for those people who are displaced, or specifying penalties. It is specifying penalties. It is not specifying penalties for non-compliance. California was home to about 180,000 unsheltered people last year. California homelessness is wild. When I'm in central LA, it's wild. Or when I'm in the Tenderloin in San Francisco, it's everywhere. But anyway, while Newsom's order reflects a tough stance on the visible homelessness issue, it's drawing criticism from within the Democratic Party. Some leaders, including LA Mayor Karen Bass, argue that the Supreme Court's ruling could lead to inhumane enforcement practices. This discontent threatens to divide or to deepen the divisions already existing among Democrats, already strained over how to tackle this extraordinary civic problem, but to do it with love and care and discipline. Even if he's, hold on one second, y'all. I'm having an audio issue. One second. All right. The discontent threatens to deepen divisions among Democrats, as I said, already strained over how to tackle the complex problem of homelessness. Even if he's not Harris's VP choice, and he will not be Harris's VP choice, they're both from California. It's not impossible, but it will require some real Dick Cheney level chicanery. He still positions himself for a potential presidential run in 2028. I believe that if Gavin Newsom does not, I'm sorry, that if Kamala Harris does not win in 2024, you'll see Gavin Newsom in 2028. That, if we still have a democracy in 4 years. And Newsom's handling of this crisis will be closely watched for its impact on not just the public discourse, not just public policy, but also his own specific political capital and the party in California and nationally. Gavin Newsom is, and I've been the one saying I think he can win. I think he'd be interesting right now to beat Trump, but that doesn't mean I'll agree with him politically. Gavin Newsom makes some interesting moves. After October 7th, he flew straight to Israel, right? I mean, like, there are things that people do because they want to be president. There are things people do because they think that it's good for business, even if it's a cynical choice. And when a person from California, an executive from California, someone from the executive branch of state level government, the governor comes out and says, look, I want to build my portfolio. I want to build my CV. I want to show that that I got next. Is what you do, right? You draw a lot of attention to yourself. He's debating Ron DeSantis. He's doing all this stuff. Then you make a move toward a gesture toward AIPAC. You make a gesture toward Wall Street. You make a gesture toward the gun people. And now he's cracking down on homelessness. It's like the Bill Clinton Sister Soldier moment. These things are going to happen. They're going to keep happening because in order to win the Democratic Party's nomination, you got to sell out a lot of the people who comprise your base, and they don't care because they know you're going to vote for him anyway. And that's what Gavin Newsom is doing right now. We're going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. There's a little audio feedback thing. I'll be back in 1 second. We'll come back. I got to tell you about Rashida Tlaib and what's going on moving forward. Stay here. All right, family, welcome back to Night School. Before we go, I want to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to answer your questions too, by the way. But I have to. I'm reading your comments, y'all. That's why I'm pausing. Actually, let me not just read a few of them, but let me take a. Oh wait, here's somebody. Somebody said, Mark, please expand on WTF is going on with Cornel West and Jill Stein. They got attention. I've only gotten Jill Stein's part of it. Cornel's been on the road and he's campaigning, so I haven't had time to call him, but at a time where I think it makes sense for him. But I think it's reconcilable. I want the People's Parties. I want the Communist Party. I want I want all these parties to come together and put forward a candidate that can win. So I would be, or a strategy that can win. I think we're close to the next level of our struggle, and I think we need to think about it in that way. Let's see here. Kime Obayade Acosta said, Professor, can we please talk about Obama is a great name. Obama not endorsing Kamala. I add an article on Twitter. I mean, I think it's what I've been saying all week. And what my sources tell me is that he wanted an open convention. He feels like the American people, or at least the democratic process, would benefit from more transparency, more democratic not ritual, but processes, than just handing Kamala the nomination. Now, I think if he thought Kamala could win, he would feel different about that. But that's just my conjecture. No, I mean, I didn't catch everything. So, or catch everything about that. So, I will probably tonight or tomorrow morning give you the feedback on that, because I need to do a post on Kamala's remarks. And I need to do something on a deeper dive and analysis on BB's remarks as well. And I don't know what happened in their private meeting, obviously, but I'll be hella interested to find out. But I will watch the speech tonight and get and post something on it. I've been running. Annis and Josie Justice, thank y'all for joining the channel. We are grateful. I'm out here every night asking people to join the channel, and y'all are actually doing it. So thank you. Y'all don't know how appreciated y'all are. Everybody, but especially people who are investing in, I think, what could be a future for Black grassroots media. Anyway, I want to thank y'all for watching tonight. Y'all, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for hanging out with Night School, especially since I showed up late. But I'm grateful for all you do to make this thing work. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you're so inclined, hit the join button. If you're not at a desktop, get to one, hit the join button and become a monthly subscriber to the channel. It's only like $3.99, and it goes up to 100, whatever. But like whatever you do, I'm grateful for it. The reason I want that is because provides me with a predictable flow of cash. It provides the channel with stability, and it allows us to just keep growing, because right now our footprint's getting bigger. We ain't got CNN shaking in their boots, but people do know that, we have access to the same cameras, the same guests, etc. We can do some good work. And that's what we do. And the reason that we're able to do good work here at the channel is because of your donations, it's because of your funding, it's because of your support. So I just want to say thank you. And let me know if you can't do the monthly commitment of a membership, again, even though it's only $3.99 and up. I ask that everybody just make a donation to Night School through our various outlets. I'm going to pull it up now, but PayPal, Venmo, it matters. Cash App, Zelle, it matters. Drop us something. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle. Again, it's not all about the money, but if people could donate, it would allow us to shore up our finances and really move into the 21st century. So if you give $1, that's amazing. If you give $1 million, it's just as amazing, maybe a little more amazing. But either way, if whatever you donate, we'll say thank you, because we appreciate it. I genuinely am grateful for it. And if computers aren't your thing, but you want to do something different, or if monthly commitments aren't your thing and you want to do something different, again, go to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle. Don't go through YouTube. Just drop it to me. If everybody watching right now were to give $10, literally, we would meet our financial goals for the month. We'd be able to move forward. We'd be able to do a wide range of things if we have your blessed and generous support. So Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle. Think about dropping $10. Again, if you drop $1 million, that's amazing. If you drop $1, that's amazing too. But if everybody drop 10, if everybody lifts a little, no one has to lift a lot. That's the idea. Anyway, y'all, thank you for watching Night School. If you don't want to drop even one red cent, that's fine. All you got to do is go to YouTube and hit the like button and hit the share button. Let the people know what you think about the content, and keep working and keep studying, because that is what Night School is all about. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.